Well, I believe this is the 10th episode of Hotline League. You're here, we're here. We're going to be talking about so many great things, so many interesting things as Hotline League covers the beginning of NA LCS today. We are recording this January 22nd. And of course, I'm joined right now by Mark Zimmerman, my constant co-host on the show. How's it going, Mark?
Pretty good. I can't believe we had 10 episodes before the first season. That sounds like too many.
Yeah. Well, our first episode was before Worlds.
Oh, you're right.
That was
God,
like
that
the
was
pilot,
yeah. All right, never mind. That makes more sense.
Yeah. We've been slacking actually. We've been doing about 1.5 episodes a month. No. And of course, the return of a frequent co-host, Kelby May. How's it going, Kelby?
I'm doing super well.
All right.
Thanks
good.
for having me back, guys.
Well, the good news is we've
You're
started.
the only one we could find.
Yeah. The good news is we've started the show with all of us in sunglasses, which means the YouTube comments will be very angry as people go, Why are they always wearing sunglasses? And there's no
I have
sun.
cataracts, all right?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. People are just not. They don't get it. You try to add some style, some glamour to the stuff, and it doesn't go. So, well, here let's go into our normal how things have been. We can do a check-in. Anything you guys want to talk about before we get into the meat of the show? Mark, how's your past week been since we did this?
Pretty good. Casted some Academy on Friday, then did the analyst desk for Saturday and Sunday, and that went over without a single hitch, and people continued to not watch. Oh, wait. Never mind. There was one segment people watched.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Sure.
Of course. And then, Kelby, how you been?
Are you gonna ask me about my week? I was so excited.
Well, it's been like a
when you asked
month.
me about that, Travis.
It's been like a month since you've been on the show, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, as you know, I've been playing a lot of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, the greatest game, Total War Warhammer 2. Man, I'm super addicted to that game. I really like the Total War games. I hadn't played one since Rome, and this new one has just got me crazy hooked.
I'm excited, man. That's great. You've been talking about this for months, so I don't know why we're bringing it up now.
Because that's what I've been doing for the past month.
Yeah, well, that's great. I would like to just give a shout out really quickly. There's been a surge of people doing this recently, and I want to thank them. A lot of people, whether it's this gaff tape, which, yes, I know, make jokes about my last name. We're all really impressed. Or it's this cable for a light, or these batteries. There's been a surge of folks supporting the production that I do from the Amazon wish list, and I want to thank all of them. There's somebody who's just named a big fan, and I swear to God, that person has purchased half of the stuff. There's somebody named Hudson who had some stuff coming through. I can't list off everybody because a lot of people have been helping. But
didn't you get something from Daddy?
Yeah, you gave me a Christmas gift. Yes.
Did you just refer to yourself as Daddy?
So I got during
so
Christmas, I got 2 gifts, and I opened. It was frequently people recently have been purchasing stuff off my wish list, and I got one of the messages I got was "Love Daddy" on 2 of these gifts. And I'm like, interesting. I tweeted something about who, I don't know who this is, but I appreciate it. And then, lo and behold, it's Calby's Christmas gifts to me. And he signed it that way. And expected me to know that was him. And it got really awkward when my dad stopped by to visit, and the gift receipts were out on the desk, and I hoped he hadn't noticed them because it'd be kind of hard to explain. He's like, wait, I didn't. It's an interesting situation. So... but anyway, thank you for everybody who's helping to support with all that stuff. It's actually been really cool, and we're using a ton of that gear. So, thank you very much. Anyway, moving on to the top story of the week, and maybe the only story of the week, is NALCS. It's back. There's all sorts of interesting stuff going on. I'm sure we're gonna have a ton of people calling in about how TSM and CLG suck, which is what I'm not saying they suck, but and by the way, we should
put
preface
question marks. They're not declaratives.
Yeah. Well, because I feel like that's what the callers are going to talk about. And by the way, a lot of people have been giving Mark and me crap about what the callers call in about. We can't control that. We're not just picking the most extreme things.
Like someone will say like I think TSM will do bad this year, and I'm like, great, that's a different opinion. And then I put them in the thing, and when I go to check them, I don't check their question. I'm just like, does your microphone work? Okay, you sound reasonable. Bring them in. And that's the first time we hear their question. So if their reasoning is booty, there's no way I can do anything about that unless we slow this show down to
and
a snail pace.
I don't think we want the show to become, we've already heard all these arguments and now they come on and we, it's like the hot takes are hot, that's how
you need to have booty callers for sure. It makes it entertaining.
Mark,
yes.
the State Farm Analyst Desk premiered this weekend. And
State Farm Analyst Desk?
Yes. Yeah. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had prefaced that there was going to be some interesting changes. Jat had retired from casting. You saw that, Kelby, right?
Yeah, well, it was led the broadcast.
Yeah.
Retired might be a strong word.
I mean, they've been using that word all over the place.
Have they?
It seems very dramatic. I mean, that's what they used on the dive.
I didn't know if that was a
Jat retires from casting, I think was the clickbait that they used there.
Well, right. So whatever. He might cast again in the future, but at least like regular season stuff, he's and postseason, I'm pretty sure he's like, I'm the analyst desk.
Sure. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to you here because one, I want you. There's already people in the Twitch chat asking. We're gonna get to questions later on. If you haven't watched the show before, we take callers. They come in through Discord. Mark will tell you how that works, and then he's gonna talk to us a little bit about how the analyst desk went this weekend.
Yeah. So to start, I'm spamming in Twitch chat the Discord link. How you get on this show is you go join that Discord. You need to join the Voice General or General 2 channels, so that way I can add you to the call when we get to your question if we pick it. And then the way that you kind of submit your question is there's the Text General channel. So I'll be parsing through there every now and then, grabbing people if I like their hot takes. Remember, we don't just want questions like, and sometimes questions are fine if it's like, why is this happening? And it's an interesting one. But if it's just like, why did TSM lose? That's not great. Try and have your own opinions to share with us, and then we can debate them. So that's how the show is going to work, everybody. Please join the Discord if you're not in here yet. And then with regards to the analyst desk, there's two things to talk about, two major feedback points. And I will be doing a blame game most likely on this. So I don't want to go like too repeating myself here, but one point of criticism was you didn't give FlyQuest their props. And it was disrespectful to FlyQuest. It was their first win of the season. They took down TSM, which just in terms of name recognition is a big deal. And people thought that they deserved the credit. And one of the things we're changing this year about the analyst desk, generally speaking, is we're not just going to be a recap show, like a recap segment. I don't think anyone finds that particularly interesting. You just watch the whole game. The casters have a couple minutes where they talk about what just happened in the game again, and then you go to the interview with the winner usually, and then it comes to us. And I don't think you want us to just talk about what you just been watching for 40 minutes. So we will be going more in depth and specific on things, and having real opinions versus just like, hey, here's what happened 22 minutes in the game. Great engage by Onda there. Really impressive stuff, We want to talk about real issues that are going on. So it sucks for FlyQuest that like they were kind of the first one to feel that, where it's like Onda played great, and Azael talked a fair amount in the cast about that. So like I don't feel like we need to hit that going forward. And of course, we're going to be monitoring community feedback, and hopefully people get more used to this identity of the analyst desk where we actually bring opinions and analysis versus being more recap focused. And of course, it will be recap heavy because it's right after the game, but it's not just a broad recap.
Very good. And I mean, so you, for those that don't know why Mark is ranting about this, there was a lot of community feedback kind of flaming the analyst desk because people don't realize the new setup for it. And so this is a different situation, I think.
Yeah. And so the other thing of why people were very divided on that segment was because we quote unquote criticized Bjergsen. And, we can talk if you want about that, the actual reasoning in there. What I would say is that like no one on production who worked on that segment walked away like nailed it. I don't think any of us were like, yeah, we killed that segment. That's exactly how we wanted it to go. At the top of the day, Jat had a line that I really liked where he said, Bjergsen's definitely not the problem, but he's not the solution right now. And I think that's what we were trying to get across with that segment. And people felt like we were just because the whole segment was dedicated to him, they weren't used to seeing it. They like that kind of segment. They thought that we were just railing on him. And I think like in some places my wording was overly negative, more so than I wanted. So, I mean, I think we can do a much better job going forward. And if people's takeaway from that segment was we just bashed Bjergsen, I don't think we did a great job. Because what we did was we didn't watch the broadcast. We had an individual observer that Jat and I solely watched from Bjergsen's perspective. So we had more insight on we talked about every decision he made, item power spikes, all this stuff while we're building this segment. And like no one else has that level of that opportunity, because that's not, you can't just watch a Bjergsen POV stream, which is like kind of what we were doing essentially. So yeah, we were very, very critical and analytical because we wanted to basically, like the big criticism against Bjergsen is he doesn't, some people call him basically a KDA player. Like, you know, he's playing for KDA, and that was actually a great game to kind of go in depth on that perspective. And I don't think Bjergsen's a KDA player at all.
Yeah. Do you think Jet is TSM Jet?
I don't think anyone thinks that anymore after that segment.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Kelby, did you watch the segment?
No, I didn't see the segment. I only watched the games.
Travis, did you see it?
Everyone's
Thanks,
still
Kelby.
skipping the analyst test.
So you're going to start watching, Kelby. That's what we want to change around here.
No, we had lunch and you asked me to look at it, and I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was only like 6 hours ago. I understand.
Busy
You
man.
probably
I had to take
have 5 minutes.
I had to take Spellsy to the grocery store.
And that took 6 hours?
This guy has not been in an American grocery store in 3 years. You would be surprised at how long it took him to accomplish some things, you know. If he's probably watching right now. He's very upset.
I'll check it out though. Now that you've mentioned it, for
The grocery store?
Well, it depends. Was it Whole Foods?
No, it was Ralph's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelby only shops at Amazon affiliated grocery stores.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that fucking store. Whatever.
I don't shop at Whole Foods. I fucking hate Whole Foods.
Whoop. All right, I won't tell Jeff. The point is,
Jeff makes a lot of other great.
The point is, I think we're ready for questions.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think.
Or I guess if you want to keep talking about it, we can. But
no, I mean, I think people will see. I guess my question for you would be, how do you feel like the new analyst desk went overall? Like,
overall,
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say overall, I think we were happy with the desk, and there's a lot more stuff we want to do, like more assets that we want to be able to play with. Like I personally am looking to like get a just giant mini map that takes up the whole screen, so that like when we talk about more macro based stuff as opposed to individual stuff, we have that supporting element, stuff like that. But overall, I think we like where it's headed, but it's the first weekend we're doing it. We need to get better.
Very good. Kelby, what did you think of NALCS?
Ooh, well, I think that, this is something like not about the games actually, but kind of about production. We had talked about this before in our group. I was hoping to see that Riot would maybe do something a little bit different with production from this year to last year in regards to I don't know. I mean, of course they're going to use the same studio and they're probably going to use the same stage, but I was looking to see maybe different graphic assets and stuff like that, because I was actually super, and I know this is League Focus show, but I've been super pessimistic on OWL, and they really impressed me from
Overwatch
a production
League.
standpoint. Yeah. Overwatch League. Their production is so good. It looks dope as fuck. I love all their graphics. Obviously, their stage and studio is something that they've had time to recently iterate on, and Riot is kind of working with something that's older. But I don't know. I just kind of didn't see anything change there, and I was maybe Riot's happy with it. I was kind of hoping to see something get upped a little bit, and that was my personal take on it, Mark. Before I don't know which take you're about to go, but I'm just saying, for me, I really like the look and feel of OWL. I feel like for all the game's watchability issues, I think their in-game UI and all of their graphics and their lead-in segments and everything, it looks so good. I like it a lot. It's really good. And then the games, I don't know. I got results that I wanted, but I assume we'll talk about results-based stuff in a little bit here, so we don't need to dive into it.
Yeah.
Just for some of the feature things, I think I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about this, but I think,
Don't say anything you shouldn't.
yeah, I don't think this is too.
Remember, this show needs to be successful so we can get sponsors. So say whatever will get us the views.
I was about to be like, how does that factor? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go on a racist rant, but then I realized. No, I think there are more changes coming in the production side that we wished we could have got live week 1 that won't come out probably for a while. So I don't know. Like,
There's upgrades coming.
yeah, there's
Cool.
upgrades coming, and it sucks that it wasn't week 1, so it wasn't like new league, new desk, new
Yeah.
players, new world, kind of thing. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm glad that Kelly brought that up because I kind of did feel the same way. Like, you've got a brand new LCS. You've taken away one of the stages. You've just had, and not that I feel like League needs to do everything because Overwatch League has done it, but it would have been nice to see both of these things debut in a kind of an interesting way, and new. And so, sort of seeing that there wasn't really much besides banner changes in the studio to accommodate the new teams, I think was a little disappointing, but still good. The other thing that I want to talk about really quickly before we get the callers in, just to kind of wet their whistle, Kelby, you were mentioning to me in the Skype chat that we talk in how different and how interesting it was to compare the, looking at TSM and CLG, who both had disappointing weekends. You go to each one of their subreddits and you see very different tones from the communities there. Maybe you can kind of share your take on how that looks.
Yeah, I just this is probably the season that I'm going to be watching League the most since I left League of Legends professionally and moved on to
when you were a pro League
player. No, I mean like working and in a League of Legends based organization, whereas Good Game was split across a bunch of different games, and now I work much more closely with League of Legends teams again, so I'm watching it more. And I'm just super interested in where esports is going right now. But yeah, it's I hadn't been super tapped in, and I'd never really had seen. Obviously, I'd been on the CLG subreddit a bunch in the past, but I hadn't really ever checked out the TSM subreddit. And oh man, I love the food delivery. The CLG subreddit was pretty much like the same tone that I've always seen when losses happen. Is like they're kind of just like it's sad, and I'm a little bit biased because I obviously have a strong connection with CLG. They're just kind of like down in the dumps, kind of like, man, this sucks, like broken heart kind of thing. The TSM subreddit is essentially just like making jokes and flaming their players, which I just thought was really funny. It's like
week 1.
They're just doing like meme jokes, It's not like the CLG jokes that they do is like, we fucking suck. We need to like bench people. Like they're kind of upset. The TSM people are just like memeing, I guess. It's very interesting, and it's also very interesting to me too. I see this dichotomy all the time on Reddit where people love to bring up this thing where like, oh yeah, you guys wanted Double Lift off the team. You were all complaining and bitching in here, and now that Sven and Mithy have a bad week, you all are saying it was a bad decision. You guys can never make up your mind. Like people always like think that Reddit is one person, and people flip-flop all the time instead of remembering that like Reddit is millions of people, and in the threads that are bashing people, like the people who share that opinion will go into that and upvote it, and the people who don't share that opinion will stay away from it, and vice versa. So like
and some people do flip-flop. Like you could have been excited about Sven and Mithy and been like, yeah, Double Lift is gone, and then the guy who never wanted Double Lift gone suddenly is like, see, you shouldn't have fucking budged Double Lift, and then someone kind of is like, you know what, you're right, we suck now, and people
it's interesting, Kel, because actually when I looked, I felt like the TSM subreddit was more down. Like when I looked at a lot of their comments, maybe I looked at it over the weekend and you looked at it today or something. I saw a lot of comments that were like, same old TSM, can't communicate, can't make plays, just look like they're dead. Bjerg's just hanging out, and then, so maybe there was kind of like a counter reaction that took place today, but my argument had always been that TSM has it worse when they're losing because they gain their fans mostly because they are a winning team. So when they fail to like fulfill the promise that the fans came in for, they get flamed pretty hard.
Yeah, I just saw like way more one-liners, and like the most toxic one I've ever seen is the TL one last year in the middle of theirs, because like that's when because I personally feel, and I could be wrong here, when people like see the same bad shit happen over and over again, like as TSM fan, it's probably easier to look at this and be like, oh, 2 week, whatever. The boys will turn around. We've never missed a championship final or something like that, right? But if you're like a TL fan or a CLG fan, you're like, oh fuck, same story again. Like, why am I even here? It's just kind of, it has more of an air of despair around it, I guess.
I kind of agree. Well, so I haven't checked the subreddit ones, but at least like the post-match discussion threads with TSM, like there were some fucking funny jokes in there.
Yeah. There
Like
was. It was good stuff.
Yeah, people just
there was
bringing
one
back
about
the memes. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, even like new ones, just like when Bjergsen put down his Rizal and only Mike Young took it into the bear pit. They were like,
TSM.
he's like a ward. They're like, Bjergsen
Yeah.
just warded the pit. It was such a fucking good joke.
Yeah. It is. There's not. I do feel like, and I'm sure EU LCS post game threads have some good stuff in them too. But goddamn, I love the memes that come out of the NALCS post match threads.
Yeah.
All right. So
Should I go get somebody?
yeah, I think we should start collecting callers. If you guys don't know how this works, there's a Discord. We'll type the Discord into the Discord command into Twitch so you can hop in. Share your question. If you are a sub, you have to sometimes give Discord a second to sync it, but you get access to a sub chat, and so there, you put your questions there. It's more likely you'll get selected just because there's less people spamming in there. And that's kind of something we do.
If
to
you
give back to
donate,
people that
you're
support you.
incredibly likely to get selected, right, Travis?
Casey's joined the show. Casey, how's it
Hey,
going? What do you
what's
got
up?
for us? What's your take on the weekend?
Wait, where's Casey calling from? We need to know where Casey's
Casey.
calling
Sorry,
what
from.
the hell?
It's been a bit.
Hey,
Where are you calling from?
H-Town, Houston, Texas.
Houston,
Nice.
Texas. Okay, so are you
Outlaws fan? Oh, sorry.
a Clutch fan?
Clutch gaming, hell yeah.
Yeah, Clutch Gaming. Okay, are you legitimately getting back in Clutch because of the Houston thing?
Yeah, I love Clutch just because I'm from Houston. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
born in Houston, raised in Houston, so it's all
Yeah.
about Clutch City.
Very good.
I just want to talk about like how they did today. It wasn't like, I think it was from their pick and ban that where they really messed up. You know, I watched LS do a VOD review of the Echo Fox Clutch Gaming game, and it just he said like from the beginning like they lost as soon as they got Azir because there was like Phoenix with his Azir is honestly like his best champion. So
He's
honestly,
13-5 and went to 14-5 after that game.
yeah. So like that's his best champion, honestly, in my opinion. And once they gave it up to him, they should have banned it out. Once they gave it up to him, the game was from there, like from the pick and ban, like it was pretty much over. And I think Clutch Gaming is a good team, but I think they honestly have. I think their coaching is where their weakness is this year. They need a better coaching staff and like a better pick ban phase. And I think
Would-
they could honestly be top 5.
Which is a fair point and an interesting thing to bring up because so much of the conversation around Clutch has been about their infrastructure. This is a team that's supposed to be investing heavily into infrastructure.
Yeah.
Originally, sort of the way that, Riot had like a one-liner for each one of these teams whenever they unveiled them, and the idea was supposed to be like Clutch is investing heavily into analytics and numbers. Then later you kind of realize like actually they're doing a lot of kind of old school like just watching VODs and trying to figure out people from that rather than like some sort of robot machine they've built for this. But
I think their pick ban was just terrible this game.
yeah, and so it's just weird that if they are losing on that side, or if that's the
Yeah.
reason they're losing, it's weird that we're hearing that from Clutch, which is supposed to be strong in that area.
Yeah.
Mark, what did you think of their games?
I got really hyped after their first game. I thought Fabivin and Lyra look really good, and then I was hoping to see them like take it to Phoenix, who can play pretty aggressive. But like Casey said, they gave him his best champ, and then he kind of shit on Fabivin,
yeah.
and in the top lane, Hooney's gonna shit on Solo.
Yeah.
And now
no
you have two
matter
two
what
losing
he gets.
lanes.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have two losing lanes. Dardock's playing aggressive. I think Dardock actually played
He played great.
close to better than Hooney that game. All three of them just shit on the top side of the map, and both teams have bot lanes that I was just looking to go mostly even or like eke out slight advantages based off matchups. So like, yeah, I didn't love the pick ban, but
Yeah.
I think potentially another thing is people might just be sleeping on Echo Fox a little bit much. I know I was.
Nah, Echo Fox will be a top 3 team this spring split, I believe. With Cloud9 and TL. But Apollo and Hakuho did pretty good. They didn't like shit the bed or anything. I think Clutch Gaming is a really good team. They could be top 5. They just need to work on their pick and ban and like watch the other teams and watch their solo queues, like see who they play, like get to know more of the other teams and what champs they're playing, and just to figure out what they need to be banning out, picking out. Like their coaching staff just needs to work on that. I think they can be the top 5 teams.
So Casey, in the past, people call in and they say something like C9 is not going to make playoffs, TSM is not going to make finals. You came in with a pretty respectable take, and then in your discussion, you just casually mentioned you don't think CLG or TSM will make top 3. So I'm very curious if you want to expand on that, because
I think
you've set Twitch on fire.
Sorry about Twitch. I think CLG could make it. Okay, TSM could make it, but like they just need to calm down. Like they're too nervous. They just really need to just chill out. They just need to chill out. I think that's really what would be best for them. And just like if what Vince Guerin is saying is true, like how they're always yelling at each other and getting super serious, they just need to take a chill pill and like just like have some like friendly discussions, like not yell at each other. They could be easily in the finals this spring.
Casey, what is your preferred method of chilling out?
Like,
What's your chill pill, so to speak?
They just need to watch like some anime or something, like all together. They just need to all like watch some friendly anime or just go outside and play some basketball. Just do whatever they need to do to chill out, because they're just. I know Bjergsen seems super stressed. It doesn't really seem right for them. Like they're just putting too much weight on their shoulders, and I don't think that's really good for them.
Yeah.
Mark, Travis, do you guys see Clutch as a top 5 team?
I don't see them as a top 3 team, which is what.
No, I said top
No, he
5.
said for Echo.
He said top.
Oh, Echo Fox. Sorry. I mean, the problem is, and I'm going to be sort of the voice of reason, hopefully, over the course of this show, because I ultimately like they're best of 1s, and do I think there's a pretty good chance TSM could have won this weekend had it been best of 3s, because in the past we've seen them lose best of 1s very, very quickly. Yes, I do think that. So I think that it's hard to take away too much from this weekend, and yes, Clutch could be top 5, but Clutch could also be bottom 5. Like these teams could be all over the place. We just don't know yet. But it's fun to speculate based off this weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. I think.
Can I speculate?
Yeah, go for it.
So I think that Clutch are pretenders right now. I think that so there are 2 matches this weekend. I think that Golden Guardians at this point, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Hunter, not the strongest opponent. And then Echo Fox, just shit on them in that game.
Yeah, that's true.
And the concern that I have for Clutch is that when I look at their talent roster, and it's definitely too early to tell, but this is just my feeling. When I look at their talent roster compared to the other teams, I feel like the top 5 is too crowded for them to be there right now. And especially since I think that Echo Fox, what we saw from Echo Fox this weekend is the upper end of where we will see them. I want to see what happens to Echo Fox when they hit some adversity and lose a best of 1, and then the Dardock factor comes into play, and maybe when Huni gets a little bit more away from his LCK skills and becomes more of an NA top laner, how that pans out for them in the long term. But I am not sold on Clutch yet. I need to see more quality wins than Golden Guardians to put them in the top 5.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just biased. It's probably just me being a Houston person.
That's fair. It's fun to start. I mean, we would never have been able to have this conversation before, where somebody calls in from a region with loyalty to a team. So it's kind of cool. Hey, Casey, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
All right, while Mark is grabbing the next caller, I do need to catch up on some subs that have come in. McHugh subbed, Ryakiri, Claus Anderson, Rory the Fish, Wrath of Khan, Daslant Light Knight. I think that's how it is. Dr. Manhattan is back with the 2 months. And we're joined right now by Silent. Silent, where are you calling from?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Okay. What microphone are you using? Because it sounds like
yeah, no, it's really bad. My
Yes.
other one broke, so I'm on like a super backup mic.
Okay. Well, no worries. We can hear you. Tampa, Florida. So what do you got for us?
Well, the last I kind of stole my hot take, but I think Echo Fox is going to fourth this split, and if nothing too major happens, they can finish even higher maybe in the summer.
Okay, so why aren't you concerned that Dardoch will ruin the team? Because that's what everyone is going to say.
I think that while emotional states can definitely like turn a team in from a good team to a bad team, I don't think that if you're winning, then that changes your mentality than if you're losing. You know, like if you have a team of 5 players and they're all very emotional and you guys lose games and then you're obviously going to clash and have tears in the team. But I think if you have one player who's, been shown to be emotional and I don't know what other words you want to use to describe him, that as long as like Hooney is, doing his thing up in the top lane and your bot lane is doing their, what they did last year and, making 4th place, I think that they can like keep, a high enough skill level that he's happy, I guess.
Mark, is Echo Fox a top 3 team?
I wouldn't say top 3, because there's always that other foot. But what I will say is I think I and some other people underrated just how like good their skill ceiling is, as much as Loco hates that term. Like, we need to remember that in terms of like game/series in the regular season, Hooney has lost 3 times in a year. Like, this guy's no fucking joke. He's probably the best player in NALCS. I would actually say that pretty definitively.
I think right now probably.
Right. So like I think if you factor that they have the number 1 player in the league, a mid laner who never really had problems going toe to toe with anyone. It was more like macro and stuff like that. A pretty good bot lane, not great, but middle of the pack. Like that's a pretty good roster. And like the Dardoch is obviously, when he's on, Dardoch's a god, and when he's not, he doesn't look great. So like when these guys are working out, they like are going to beat anyone in the league, I think. So that's pretty scary to say that they're like not going to finish that highly.
Yeah, I think that like when Travis did the interview with Rick Fox, like he seemed super invested in like channeling all of his resources and like sports knowledge and all that kind of stuff into maintaining like a good atmosphere. Because like I'm sure that when he was talking to people who decided who to pick, they told him about Dardoch's issues.
So I think.
I'm sure
did you happen to see? I know I tend to do this a lot on the show now. It
was originally a joke.
It was originally a joke, but I actually, it's good content. People should see this. Silent.
I watched one with Rick Fox. Yeah.
Did you see? No. Did you see the one with Jared Jeffries, who's the president of Echo Fox?
Oh no, that one, older one.
No, it came out the day after. Thanks a lot.
Oh,
the point is,
well, no,
his smile isn't as good. Why would you watch Jared Jeffries?
Yeah, no. Well, so, with all due respect to Rick, I do think that Jared Jeffries, who is also a former pro athlete, is probably more. The sense I got is that he's actually more involved in building these teams now, specifically the League of Legends one over the break. And so that interview was more about building the roster, how they came to it. I'd recommend, if people are interested in learning more about that Echo Fox roster, to check it out, because I think he gave some really good answers. One of the things that he said was that, because I brought up the question of, are you concerned about this? And he said, the thing that when I talked to everybody about these players, they all said that the issues were in game, not out of game. And as long as these guys are good people, I am confident we can work through the in-game issues, which is a fair argument to make, right? Is that if Kelby's he seems skeptical.
Have you watched Breaking Point?
Yeah. Well,
so
the question is, the Breaking Point environment was not good.
I'm playing 1v9.
Yeah.
In between series, or in between matches in a playoff series, or fucking. I don't even.
So you can say whatever you want about Dardoch's like emotional or ability to control his emotions, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone, myself included, say he's a bad kid. Like.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you create an environment for a team that's a good winning atmosphere.
Sure, I'm just saying Travis's point about like as long as they're all good people, which maybe emotions sometimes stop that. But I would have maintained that Dardoch's a good kid.
Yeah, and so I think if you are Jared Jeffries, because I think I titled that interview with the quote of, none of these guys are going to be worse than what I've seen in the NBA.
NBA, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you are somebody, you found the interview.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Anyway, if you are this guy and you've seen all this, you've experienced all this in the NBA, and you are confident that you can work through issues related to personality stuff related to the game, Dardoch's a pretty good risk for you to take. And no offense to TL, but I don't think TL in 2016 was a really good environment for somebody who has issues in game to like get better. Like, I just don't think Steve and Loco and all those guys were really able to make. Like, Steve was in the middle of selling his company, essentially. Loco, I don't think had developed, and we'll see this year. Maybe it's changed, but had developed into the mature type of person that could solve this kind of stuff. I don't know. It's given me, after that interview series, it kind of changed the perspective that I had on Echo Fox, and I wasn't surprised to see them do well this weekend, and I would not be surprised to see them continue to do well. I have a lot of faith in their ability to work through issues, so we'll see.
I think that them and Liquid are, in my opinion, the two teams that's like straight up upgraded. Like, I mean, like every single role was a straight up upgrade. Like, they're basically one of the new 4 teams because there's no real like takeover from their last year.
Yeah. One thing that I saw that actually super impressed me is the clips that they had from some of their games where you hear like the in-game comms. Like, Dardoch's communication in their in-game comms, like setting up and then playing through fights, it's not just feeding information. The direction that he's providing and calling and stuff in these fights was like super impressive to me. I was like, damn, this guy, I would like to play with this guy. This would be fun, you know?
This may sound kind of, I know, not true, but I think that the breaking point was made to be dramatic. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't know if it's true, and that definitely happened, but I think that they obviously made it seem like, you know, I mean, not like painting him as a bad guy, but way more, you know, worse than he actually. I don't think he's like.
I mean, remember, this was a guy that split across like 3 different teams last year.
I'll say
Immortal signed him to a 3-year deal and talked about how great it was going to be, and he was gone by the end of that split. So,
but I don't think.
Also, based off the fact that they didn't even include some of the worst stuff that I know.
Mark's seen the director's cut, and it's gruesome. That's NC-17. You can't publish that shit on YouTube.
I mean, like, some of it wasn't shot because like they just didn't have the cameras around for it, you know. So like, trust me when I say,
because the cameras were broken. Because Dardoch had gone on a rampage.
Like, you know what Super Saiyan, like the force of it, just like broke the camera lens. Yeah.
Silent, thank you for the call. And Mark, before you go, I want to pull you into another conversation. But thanks so much, Silent.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Sliant. I've been mispronouncing your name.
Shit.
I didn't want to correct you.
You should always
correct. You can correct Travis. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, I tried to when you said my sub, but you didn't hear me, so I assumed that.
Sliant, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Mark,
and to clarify real quick, the point about not putting the worst stuff in is not specifically about Dardoch. It's just like the overall team atmosphere. There were things that were not put in there that, or I don't even know if that footage exists.
What do you know, Mark?
I'm just
Damien
saying, like,
has already texted me.
What happened?
Nothing. I'm not going to say what happened. I just know that, like, everyone.
I'm not going to say what happened. He knows.
Possible. They didn't make everyone look as bad as they possibly could have, is what I'd say.
All right, everybody. Just from here on out, we all know.
Salacious.
There's
I've said this before.
Footage missing from Breaking Point.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's footage. I just said, like, I was friends with a lot of people in the org.
The full story hasn't been told. Maybe we'll get some more courageous filmmakers that will go back and tell the true.
What was
full
the other
story.
thing you want to talk about?
Hooney, you because I think people will freak out if we gloss over that. So you think Hooney is the best player in North American LCS right now?
I thought more about it
after you made that statement.
Like, no. I mean, I thought more about Echo Fox's ranking, and I was like, who's a better like carry than Hooney? Like, legitimately, Jensen.
Twitch
you could argue maybe.
Yeah,
Jensen I think is close. I'd say Bjergsen's close, but
I feel like week 1, Hooney had the most impact of any player.
Have you heard of a little boy I like to call Peter Pang?
Yep.
I mean, all of TL played super well. Hooney buried Solo in that game, like so embarrassing.
Flame was like the number. He was like the All-Pro first or second team last split, and he shit on him for daring to blind pick GP against him.
Yeah.
So like, you need to remember, like, I think I kind of like went to like Hooney in Korea with my mindset on him. His time in Europe and his time in North America was like unprecedentedly dominant. And if he's going to bring that back this year, like, that's scary.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited to see how this develops. What do you think Huni will stay the best over the course of the split?
I don't think he has the best team, and so I think you'll see people outperform him.
Yeah.
At sometimes, and I wouldn't be confident saying that Huni's my favorite for MVP right now, but I think you can make a case that he's the best player in the NALCS.
Yeah. A lot of teams are going to start game planning for him if they haven't already now.
I mean, you heard FlyQuest in one of their interviews be like, we didn't take pick ban seriously enough versus Echo Fox, and they spent a lot more time in their second game.
Yeah. This is why I'm pretty bullish on Echo Fox. Arguably everybody has been. They just cite the concerns or whatever, but people also forget that Alltech and Adrian were a huge component in Dig's run last year of looking pretty strong. So
Huni was on Adrian was on the Immortals with Huni that shit on everybody.
Yep. And he has an i8.
I'm getting the next guest.
All right. Continuing on with shoutouts to folks. Dr. Manhattan resubbed Hotline League with Kelby. Hell yeah, he says. The Real Rando 1, the Classic 394, Rocky 00, and Kiwi Mullet Boy resubbed for 3 months. Woo, much love from New Zealand, he says. Dragonborn 206. And we're back with Bachetto. Bachetto, we talked about this before.
There you go, Bachetto, yeah.
Remind me where you're from, Bachetto.
I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada.
That's right, from the deep northern reaches of Saskatchewan,
yes.
Canada. Yeah. What are you? Did you have to clean off ice from your satellite dish to get into this call?
It's actually really warm right now. It's only like -4 or something like that.
Oh, good, yeah, only -4.
So
it was 65 today, and Travis and I were like, man, we have to put on pants to go outside.
It was 65 degrees. We were sitting outside. We got lunch. We were sitting outside. We were like, oh, it's kind of cold out here. We should move inside.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, and that's -4 Celsius. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it exists.
It's like
I'm from
26
America.
or something.
No
like
idea.
That. 25.
Okay. Yeah. It's close to freezing. Just under freezing. So it's all good.
So what do you want to talk about?
So a lot of people were talking about kind of like this Bjergsen criticism and like, why is TSM doing so poorly, like their first 0-2 week in LCS history, something like that. And I think when I saw the TSM, like their new roster, I was like, this looks so similar to what they tried to do in early 2016 when they brought in Yellowstar and they completely revamped the roster. And if people remember, that did not go that great. They were like, oh, we're going to bring in Yellowstar. He's going to be a shot caller. It'll take the burden off Bjergsen. He can just be like a pure carry. And it didn't work out for them then. And it looks like the shot calling kind of rift is also not working for them now. I think part of the reason why Bjergsen was able to do such a good job is because he was kind of forced into that shot calling role. Like he said multiple times he didn't want to be a shot caller, but kind of the team needed him to be. And I think Reggie pushed him into that role a lot. So every time they try and get him off that role, it seems like TSM has such a crisis that they don't know what to do. And Bjergsen suddenly is playing super passively because he's not really in control of the game and he's not being able to exert himself on the map as well. So
Bachetto,
real quick, Bachetto, I thought you had something more about the analyst test segment. I thought I saw you. Was that not you?
Oh, I posted multiple.
He baited you in with the analyst test thing, but you really want to talk about TSM.
These people who come in and post multiple things, I pull them for something, and then they keep posting, and I'm like, I don't even know.
I love it. He's like, okay, what can I
whatever.
put in there?
He's in here now, and we're talking about this.
What can I put in there that'll just work to bait
I thought your explanation of what kind of the analyst test happened, where none of you are really necessarily happy with how it went across. So I don't know. I didn't want to riff on you too bad for that.
Oh, bring it on, dude. If
you
want to.
All right, one thing. Hang on. First things first. The only thing, and I think you're all due respect, Bachetto, I think your argument sucks. So we'll quickly move on to the other one after I dismantle it. But
damn. Okay.
I think I'm just kidding, kind of. The point is, I think that you're falling into the trap that I see a lot of people go into, and I certainly understand why, because it's easy to fall for this narrative of a single shot caller, who is the leader. It's my understanding that last year, the shot calling was split between
Our
Bjerg
boy.
and Hanser and Peter, mostly Peter and Bjerg. But that it's not but for Reggie, whenever he was trying to figure out how to solve his offseason issue, it wasn't like, oh, we need to get a shot caller so Bjerg can just concentrate on carrying. It was our jungle and our support do not communicate enough in game, and we need those guys to communicate with each other and with the rest of the team. And so they try to find very outspoken, communicative people to fill those roles. I don't think it was ever a shot calling situation. So I can see why you would want to draw a comparison to the Yellow Star thing, where it's like, okay, we're going to bring this person to help out. But I don't think that anyone ever said that shot calling was the issue with TSM last year. It was more just like the basic communication levels with the support and jungle. That's why I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I guess like when people criticize TSM for their Worlds performance, it was like they load into the map and they sit around and don't do anything and let the opponent like walk all over them. And I'm pretty sure, like, I think a lot of criticism was just like their TSM are not decisive enough, and they're not, like, no one's taking charge, or they're just like too scared to do anything.
I mean, I mentioned a lot of that comes out of a lack of communication, though, right? Like, you could see if you're... Mark,
I don't know if I agree with that, just because if you read Double's player, like, Tribune article, he was like, people were scared. He said the whole environment of the team was warped, and no one stepped up to be a leader and, like, get people out of it. And I think I mentioned this before, you know, if you look at like the TL Dota winner interview, the Team Liquid guy, he talked about like how his team was in a very similar mindset, lost on day one of the playoffs, and then like he would just start screaming at the top of his lungs before games to like amp people up. And I think that's why, you know, communication issues and the roster moves make a lot of sense, but the world specific problems did seem more of like a like mentality in the moment kind of choking thing.
Do you agree that it's similar to the Yellow Star issue then, Mark?
No, I think it's potential. Like, I would just say like the world's performance thing is like not what I would point to for this. I understand it looks similar, but I think it would be two different issues. Like, I would hope day one of the LCS they're not feeling the same pressure they felt in the group stage of Worlds as things start going wrong.
Caller's supposition is that it's similar to the Yellow Star situation in 2016. Do you disagree with that?
Basically, like, if I just step in here real quick, what I'm trying to say, like, I'm not trying to say like Mithy and Zen, like, the changes they made are a stand for Yellow Star. I'm just saying that, like, it seems that when they really shake up the team environment, they always struggle for quite a while before they kind of get back into the groove of things. And like, I suspect TSM to like pick it up later on in the split or next split. I just think that like that initial change has really affected them, and like they're going to be feeling it for a while.
I'm down with that. Like, you know, with Yellow Star, they still made the finals. They finished the regular season 6. No more, like, because it was best of ones back then too. They get into playoffs, best of 5. They beat some people. They look all right before losing closely to CLG. It was a 5-game series. So I could easily see TSM doing the same thing. And I would still bet on TSM finishing very high up. Maybe not in regular season if these kind of problems persist, where it seems like there's synergy problems between Mithy, Mike Young, and the rest of the team. But I think that they'll still do great in playoffs.
What was your analyst desk argument? You said Mark sucks.
Oh, I wasn't saying like Mark sucks.
You were saying Mark sucks, I believe.
That whole like section felt really, really awkward, especially because I know it's like something new and like people aren't used to doing it. So, and as well as like people watching it, they're not really used to it. But it seemed like there was just a completely narrowing in on what Bjergsen was doing without like a real explanation of the context of what else was happening. I know some people kind of, I'm not anywhere near a draft expert, where we're criticizing like TSM's draft. They're also criticizing how the bot lane played and how Mike Young was playing. And I think Bjergsen played actually really well for the tools he was given. And of course he was quite passive.
Are you calling his teammates tools?
Yes. But when his entire team is kind of like suiciding around him, like, is it really a good idea to like throw yourself into the fire alongside them, or just sit back and like stand behind a wall and not like flash over for like 10 seconds?
Yeah, so I think clarity on what we're saying is very important. I think we weren't super clear. And we also ran out of time. Like at the end of that segment, we were supposed to give him like a letter grade. But we just like ran out of time in the segment, as well as like I don't think we established why we did that segment.
Imagine if the grade was an F. It's like,
no, it was
we
gonna
ran
be
out of
like,
time. We're supposed to give him an F.
It was gonna be like an A. Like it was gonna be high. It was gonna be like he played great. He's a mechanical god. Like I don't think you can see a Xerath mechanically play that much better. And the reason we tunneled on Bjerg was because there's already like a front page post about him after one day. And to go as in depth on a topic as that as we want to, we need to decide before the game starts that that's like our intent. And so it does seem awkward, but in some ways I do think it was a good game because that was literally the kind of game people are critical of him for, where he performs well but the team loses. And I think with respect to the draft, you know, like you ban Ryze, a champion Keen doesn't play, to get him to play his preferred champion, which is Azir. So he takes Azir, and then you pick an off-meta counter in Xerath. And because Jat and I were watching from his perspective the entire time, there were things he was doing like prioritizing pushing minions over going for poke. He never put Keen below 75% HP on his own accord. The only time he did that was when they traded summoners off a gank, which was mechanically played fantastically. And so the point Jat and I were making was like, he played great. And in no way is this loss at all attributable to him. But like, was it a Huni level performance? Was it like he crapped on a substitute mid laner with the counter pick that he chose to go for? No. And I think that's kind of how we wanted to position it. Was what I said at the top of the show, as well as what Jat said, was he's not the problem, but he's not the solution right now. And he's playing well. He's absolutely playing well. He's playing great. And I think if you watch that segment back, I don't think we ever said he played bad or anything.
But Kato, you got 2 conversation points on the show, so I know how.
I'm cashing in.
Yeah. Thank you though for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry about the question confusion there.
No worries.
No problem. But generally, everybody.
He's gone. Mark, quickly, I want to take a sponsor break. We don't have a sponsor, so I'm just taking this break as the sponsor of the show. And point out, I want to give a shout out to somebody. Kelby will be excited about this.
Yeah, I know.
There's a guy named Fenron Jenkins who donated $15. Yeah. He said next Chipotle is on me. Kelby, do you want to explain who Fenron Jenkins is for the Twitch chat?
Fenron Jenkins is my favorite Total War Warhammer 2 streamer, and we've been raiding his channel as of late, and just hanging out with him. And he gets like 20 viewers or like 20 to 30 viewers when he streams. So but he knows the league.
It's a cool little community of people that watch all of his stuff. And is the expansion out now that he was supposed to have the?
No, it's not out, and I don't think he still has early access.
Okay. Wait, what is the name of the game company again?
Creative Assembly.
Oh wait, we can just use Total War. So, I would say, I mean, I don't know how many of you guys will do this right now, but you want to explain the story about what happened with his access or whatever?
Yeah. So they have an expansion for the game coming out called the Tomb Kings. Like they're releasing a new race, and you pay and you get to play this new race on the campaign map and stuff. And, they have an early access program where a bunch of YouTubers, and they're not really big on Twitch yet. Like, they don't really follow their Twitch community as much, I get the feeling. But they give early access of the content to all these YouTubers, and they create, content about the new campaign and stuff. And Fenron, who's, like, one of the most active and most viewed Total Warhammer 2 streamers, and I know I said he doesn't get very much viewership, but the game doesn't get a lot of viewership on Twitch in general. He got left out of the early access program, so we were sad because he's such a great brand ambassador for the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys all want to help me, you can go to the Total War Twitter account, and you can tweet at them and say,
like Travis and I did.
Yeah, like we did. It didn't seem to work. Maybe you guys can help us. You can tweet at them and say, this is, if you don't donate, you don't want to do anything else, just do me this favor and say, at Total War, when is my boy? Hang on, we almost got it. When is my boy at friend? What should we say? Early access, Kelby?
Yeah.
Jenkins getting his early access. Just tweet that at them, so that I just typed it in Twitch chat. At Total War, when is my boy Fenron Jenkins getting his early access? You'd be helping us all out a lot. Because, it's Twitch. I love YouTube. It does a lot for me, but we want the Twitch community to also get cool things and for communities to realize that, too. So just tweet that at them, and then that'd be great. We thank Fenron for his contribution to the show. All right, sponsor message over. Mark, go for it. Who's next? Ba-ba-bang,
Returner.
ba-bang.
Bang,
You're back.
Hello. Yes,
Hello.
I am back.
We're
I like
repeat-
this guy's voice.
Yeah. I don't. Loco figured out how he's a Korean dude in I think Seattle, right?
No, I'm in Berkeley.
Damn it. Okay. Well, Loco
Very
told
close
me
to
how
me.
to say his name, and I fucked up.
It's Bang Bang.
Yeah, exactly that one.
Yeah.
And he's in Berkeley. How's Berkeley?
Cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been chilly recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's nice down here. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about League of Stopwatch. So, I honestly think all the it's been such like a circle jerk around Stopwatch. I think I feel like Stopwatch isn't as big of an issue as people make it out to be. I definitely think it's like a part of a larger issue right now, especially with how long a lot of games tend to be. And so like if you think about it in terms of LCS games and just in terms of solo queue, I feel like the whole like relic, shield, cull, overheal bullshit in bot lane is really what's stalling out games, and the lack of bruisers in the top lane. So I feel like Stopwatch is just kind of like facilitating all of that. It kind of frustrates me how big of an issue people make it out to be.
Yeah,
I like
feel
this
like
topic.
I feel like Stopwatch isn't as bad as double relic shield bot lane. That's my take.
Yeah.
Mark, what? Yeah, you want to respond to that?
Well, so I think the inspiration tree as a whole like seems overtuned in the sense where like everyone goes it basically everywhere, and part of that is like the other options just like aren't great. And so you see people going that fleet footwork in the bot lane is absolutely well, not fleet footwork, but I think that the relic shield overheal combining with that makes it so like lanes are just focused on scaling and getting out of lane. And bot lane is one of the more active parts on the map, generally speaking. Like you always try and break bot turret first because that's where the TPs go and stuff, all that. So I would largely agree. I think if you change that up, the game starts speeding up. I think top lane actually is in an interesting space. You have a fair amount of carries up there right now with how there's double tanks in jungle and support. You see things like GP, Vlad, Lucian top, Camille's getting banned out all the time because it's very powerful right now. Gnar, you don't see much Maokai or anything. The only tank you see played blind is Ornn, generally speaking. So I like top lane. But yeah, inspiration tree needs to get looked at as well as the overheal stuff with relic shield.
There was a thread about this on the sub, right?
Yeah, everyone was complaining about Stopwatch, and I agree. In a slow competitive, like in competitive where the game is slower, you focus much more on accumulating micro leads into like backbreaking plays, where like you shove in mid, and you chunk him out, and eventually he can't match your rotation, and you 4-man bottom, and then you destroy them. And with Unsealed Spellbook having more TPs in mid lane, generally speaking, because you can take them. You can take masteries for lane, then swap to global and macro focus masteries, as well as, like you said, the stopwatches kind of de-incentivizing dives. Even though you can use them offensively, they're much more powerful defensively. Ends up in a situation where these dives that you're used to seeing bot lane get like really crazy. It feels like it's a little bit harder to set that up because people just don't get poked out as easily in bot lane.
The official League of Legends Facebook page has now updated their profile picture to the stopwatch icon. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I think
probably a
that-
bad sign for it, right? I feel like that when they
Yeah.
do that, it's normally a sign that stuff is about to happen.
Yeah, I just don't want people stopwatch either. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, if you just remove stopwatch and kept fleet footwork, like, yeah, the game would speed up a little bit probably, but you're gonna have other issues.
Yeah, and I think especially like when you look at a lot of the LCS games, Tom Kench and Zillion are also coming back. I feel like that just delays games so much more. And we were talking about this in the waiting room actually. It just makes it so that like you get into these super late game situations where like everyone's just scared, and then Tom Kench and Zillion just your undo button, it just stalls out even longer.
I don't mind Tom Kench because at least he still has. Well, I do mind Tom Kench, but I don't hate him because at least he offers global map mobility. So if like a better team ends up with Tom Kench, I feel like he probably does more to accelerate the game than slow it down. But in close games, yeah, you might see him cut in on the number of engages a team is willing to make.
Hmm.
When is I mean, we saw games are going pretty long this weekend, right? Like overall the game time was pretty, it felt like that, at least to me.
Yeah, overall game time is up a fair amount compared to last year.
Do we like that?
Game.
No.
Yeah, I don't like it. I got out of work really late.
I think part of the other thing is like, even last year, games would be kind of slow in the early game, and then there's just like a lot of team-wide snowball mechanics. Like if you get Rift Herald, that's like a huge thing. Baron buff is like super strong. So right now it's even slower in terms of that early game, and then you still have these like super powerful things.
Cool. Well, thanks. Bong bong. How do you? One more time.
It's bang bang.
Bong bong.
Bang bang bang
Yeah,
bang.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you so
with
much.
the stopwatch things, voice of reason among the many concerned individuals regarding the stopwatch situation. All right. So who else do we got? We got a lot of donations coming in tonight, or subs. Dragonborn 206, Nemo Heals Cruelis, The Bower, Onijoa Brony-chan. That's some of these weeaboo names I just can't. Onija Brony-chan, Statin 70, and Omega Diamond Zinc. Don't worry, guys. There's some more of you. We'll get to you. Just squeezing them in between the calls. We got Matt on the line. Matt, where are you calling from?
From Victoria in Australia.
What time is it there?
It's around afternoon, 4:13 p.m.
Okay, but it's Tuesday there, right?
Yes.
How is
Tuesday.
tomorrow?
How is tomorrow in terms of what, like the weather or like?
Yeah, I mean the day.
What's the future like?
Yeah, what is what? Can you tell me what crypto looks
Has
like?
anything
'Cause
happened?
I would love to know.
I'm trying to make some money.
If there's a crash, I need to sell right now.
Nothing too far has gone.
Okay, thank you.
Everything's still fine.
Okay, thank God,
Cool.
because I've been worried. What did you want to talk to us about, Matt?
Well, I've been following TSM for around 5 years, and this could be my final year. But I do think, I think TSM should be fine. I think a lot of fans are just a bit concerned over the first 2 games. I think TSM will pick it up over week 2. So I think I will still be following TSM, but I am very concerned at the moment on how they are playing. I think Mike Young feels a bit nervous as well as like their jungler. I feel like the first game he was focused on farming, sort of like the old Sven where he would just farm a lot and didn't do much. Because in the first game as well, Mike Young only had 1 assist in the whole game, and Grades had Knight, who was at Smithy, and yeah, I don't know. I think TSM should be doing better after week 1, but yeah.
Before we get into the situation with TSM, I'm curious. So you said that you followed TSM for a long time. This might be the last year, but you think it won't be because they're going to get better. Does that mean that you... I mean, you're not saying that because you're afraid they're going to get relegated, so...
No, I don't think that... I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but I mean, I think the reason why they got Ed Smithy and Sven is because they wanted... I don't know. Because Sven and Mithy was so hot at the moment in EU, and they were doing so well, they thought, okay, we'll bring them over and they'll help us. But maybe I don't know. I think they got too arrogant by bringing them over. I don't know.
My question is, like, why would you stop following them? Is it because you sound like a Fairweather fan, right? It's like, I've been following them for a long time.
For 5 years.
Who knows if I'm going to keep following them if they keep this performance up? You're not there to stick around for them if they're not on top of the game?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just feel like they're not the same TSM as they used to be, and that sounds a bit arrogant, but I don't know. It just feels like they only grab these players because they want to be number 1, and then they ended up losing the first 2 matches due to them not clicking as well. I mean, I probably will stick to them, but I don't know. It just feels like TSM aren't the same TSM as they usually are. They're more focused on the players, whereas I don't know. Yeah.
How much do you care about like player personality? Because like Double Lift was pretty different from them. Biofrost was like all around considered, and same with Sven, like great people, like really nice guys. Is that like something that drew you to them a little bit more over the last couple of years? And now that it's gone, you don't know Sven and Mithy that well. You're just less invested.
I mean, I really like Bifrost. I think Bifrost was a really underrated support, and I think he did really well last year at Split, and he worked quite well with Double Lift as well. I think Sven and Miffy aren't used to the NA playstyle as much as well due to them being from EU. And I think, yeah, I think they just got rid of Double Lift and Bifrost for the wrong reasons, and yeah, picking up Sven and Miffy might have been a bad option, but I still think Sven and Miffy will learn over time because they've learned through going to Origin and then to G2. So I think they do have time to grow, but I don't know. Just be interesting to see how that works out as well.
And so, getting back to what you were talking about, you're basically raising the discussion point of you think TSM will bounce back from this and we'll see them do well again.
Yeah, I mean, I want to still follow that. Like, I probably will be still following them, but I just feel like they need to relax and calm down and then try to focus on winning matches.
You're the second person who's mentioned the calming down for TSM as a strategy. I don't know where do you feel like it's just the pressure that's causing them to like. I'm just curious why everybody keeps proposing the calm down situation. They seem pretty calm on stage. They're not like.
I think they're calm on stage, but I think that they've been a bit arrogant. They feel like, oh, okay, we've been the number one team for a while. Like, we're going to destroy everyone. We've got these 2 brand new imports from EU, Sven and Miffy. We're going to destroy everyone. They got stomped by TL because Double Lift was absolutely wrecking them. And then in Game 2, I don't know. Game 2 was a bit weird, but I don't know. I just feel like TSM need to try to more focus on as a team, and then they should be fine next week.
Yeah, I mean, I think look, they changed out 60% of their roster. A lot of the other teams did too, but I don't think anyone should expect them to perform the same way that they did last year right out the gate, right?
Yeah, but I think people do. That's the problem. I think people always expect high things of TSM because they're TSM. They have a huge name no matter where they're from. Like, even I follow them from Australia, so TSM have a huge name no matter where they are. So there's always these huge expectations, even though, like you said, 60% of their team is brand new, and people still think, oh, they should automatically be good.
Matt, I want to thank you for your call. Twitch chat is very angry right now because you're not saying anything controversial, but I think it's a very reasonable thing that you're saying, right? Which is like, I followed TSM previously. I might not in the future because it feels like they changed, but I think there's a chance they can get better, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice Australian thing. Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for letting me on. I think it's good that you guys do this and talk to fans and everything.
Thank you. Well, I think it's good that all the fans call in and talk to us. Twitch chat. Thank you.
All the fans, every single one of you, get on here.
Yeah.
No. All the donators, at least.
Yeah. All right. Where are we at? I had the really crazy one. Okay, Statin 70. Omega Diamond Zinc has resubbed. Daru King has subbed. Rayma 39. Rocket Orange, which sounds a lot like Rocket Mortgage, the new sponsor of 100 Thieves. And Xantos has subbed. So Shotgun, you were originally in the waiting room. I brought you back because I saw in the subs chat that you were saying that your house got hit by lightning. You lost your internet, and Mark wasn't bringing you back into the waiting room.
It's hard to do this. You want to try switch jobs?
No. I'm just saying what Mark. The takeaway wasn't about you. There it was the lightning hitting his house. Can we go into that?
Yes.
Yeah,
please.
It should be all good now. We got bombarded by lightning for a minute. I'm in Ohio, and it's supposed to be fucking cold right now, and it's not. It's really weird.
Well, thank you for the sub. If there's anything we can do about the lightning, please let us know.
What is really not cold in Ohio right now? Like, can you define that?
Well, not cold is pretty much anything above 10 degrees when it's January, but right now it's like 65, so it's actually like nice out.
Damn.
For even like springtime, that's nice out for Ohio.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You've been on the show previously, I believe. Maybe last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about this week?
I mostly came in here to talk some mad shit on behalf of 100 Thieves, because I think they looked awesome in their games this week. I think less so against Optic and more so against CLG. I think a lot of the issues in the Optic game was like Optic had a big lead, but then they just kind of blew it. They didn't do anything with it. They ended up just trading towers with their lead rather than pushing an objective and not trading. But then 100 Thieves had this like really good scaling comp. But in the CLG game, they just looked really, really fantastic. There's a clip going around on Reddit and on Twitter of Stixay just running face first into a Ryu Malzahar ult. I can post that one in the Discord if you want.
Yeah, or the Twitch chat, whichever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. That's a funny clip. It was I saw a tweet that was going out, and it was like, people dying or whatever that subreddit is, and it was like man runs to his own death or something, and they linked that clip.
The tweet that I saw was never seen someone so eager to die, and it's just him running straight into it.
AD carries have that tendency, I think.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair to them, it is like mechanically a mistake that happens. Like I'm pretty sure the same thing happened to Sven. Maybe he just straight tunneled, but like you just misclick, and like sometimes you have like speed ups on and stuff, like Lulu's. In that
right,
case,
you just
Zillion.
run straight into him.
Yeah, like that one misclick sends you like 200 units closer. Yeah. It still looks fucking dumb and shouldn't happen, but
right.
So were you the one that called in? Sorry, really quickly.
There was one. Go ahead.
No, you go. Ohio.
Oh, there was one other like crazy moment in 100 Thieves game where like Acadian in the first game had like a perfect engage onto Cody Sun's Kog'Maw in the back line and then like just flashed off of a free kill. Like he did half of his combo and then just flashed away. I have no idea what the hell that was about.
So you just here like to rag on the teams that you beat this week?
So wait,
kinda.
Were you the one that called last week and said 100 Thieves is going to be awesome?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm calling to reassert that notion and say
lap,
that
yeah.
I think they look really strong, and I think that they probably look better than most people had in their power rankings. And I think a big part of that is just I think the duo lane has more synergy than most people thought.
Oh, go ahead, Kelby. We're all
I was
talking
gonna
over each other.
say.
I don't know why.
So I think that the Clutch Gamers was Pretenders. I think that 100 Thieves might actually be the real deal. I wasn't super impressed with their win over Optic, especially since I think Optic is one of the two weakest teams in the league, probably. But their win over CLG was real nice, and just the way that they played and their energy, like I don't know. I get this like I've always had this thing where like if Meteos cares, man, like he will be really, really good. Like I'm a full believer in Meteos if like he's on it, and like I don't know, it seemed like he had a lot of energy, passion on stage. That team has so much talent on it, especially if like they're all playing really well. And like CLG like had a bad week, but they put a hurting on CLG and they just looked pretty good. The only concern I have is that they are overrated in one department, and that is their uniforms. Their uniforms are massively
baseball
overrated.
tee's not doing it for you?
No, it's not the baseball tee.
On those.
It's not the baseball tee. It's that you have different logos on the sleeve versus the breast. You have the all white logo on the breast and the red tee on the sleeve, and then they did a great opening video for Rocket Mortgage. I thought it was fantastic, but I'm sorry, the Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans logo does not look good blown up on a jersey. It's just not something that looks nice.
What about that versus the Omen by HP logo on the CLG one? Because they're similar situation, right?
I don't like the CLG jerseys in general. Like CLG jersey without any logos on it, I don't think looks good.
All right, so what's your number one jersey then?
I like the TSM jersey. It's pretty clean. I also like the TL jersey. From the new teams.
What teams do you rep at Twitch, Kelby?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh wait, it's TL and TSM. Literally.
Well, also C9. But
newer teams,
Are the newer teams?
Please don't say GGS.
No, it's not.
Mustard's a good color.
Maybe it's gonna pain me to say it. I don't know, actually. Maybe 100 Thieves is the best of the new teams, but but I just don't. I think it's overrated. Like Fionn had that tweet about like it being like number one and then second is everybody else, and I'm just like, no.
You're talking about the logo?
Fionn
I like the
seems
Guardians
like-
logo. I actually do like the Guardians logo, and I
Yeah,
like
but
their
I've heard.
I like their jerseys and their looks a lot. Actually, I like that they switch colors based on if they're red team or blue side or red side, which I think is kind of cool.
I think a lot of teams are going to be doing that. I like Optic having the players. I forget which shoulder it's on, but they have their country.
Flag.
Yeah, I like that.
So while I have you here, Shotgun, sorry, now that we've done our little fashion show segment for the episode, you last week said you were a 100 Thieves fan. I forget, did we talk to you about why you became a 100 Thieves fan?
A little bit. It's because I'm in Ohio and I'm a Cleveland sports fan, and when Dan Gilbert put the investment forward, I got really excited. I was kind of I was into the sports, like the esports scene, but I wasn't into a team as much. Like I kind of followed TSM and C9 because they were the big NA teams, and then at Worlds I became a huge Misfits fanboy. But beyond that, I didn't really have a motivation to follow a team, and now I feel like I really have that because I'm supporting something more local.
Yeah, I am very curious. I'm very curious about the 100 Thieves situation because, okay, so you mentioned that there are sports, or that you came in because you're a sports fan of your local sports leagues and you know that they're involved here. I just think 100 Thieves right now seems, especially if they do well in the league, they seem poised to take over just a huge amount of the fan base. People love Nadeshot. Like, can you imagine last year saying brand new team joins and then they get 100K subs and their house tour gets 400,000 views? The heist is getting 200,000 views. Like they have
very marketable players too.
They are
The heist is so good too, by the way. Like I don't know if you've actually seen all of it, but
I live with the guy who
really
makes it. I have some criticisms of it, so I can't be biased in either way.
What I would say is it is not unique content, but Nadeshot is so much better than anyone else who has been in that content before.
We're gonna give it 100%.
I can agree to that.
100%.
100.
I actually applied for that job, Travis. So tell your roommate Gigi.
Well, he worked for 1UP. He was the editor on Breaking Point, so it was going to be hard for you to compete with that. But
blame nepotism or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just came here to talk shit on
your
behalf
lap.
of-
Yes.
I gotta talk some shit back.
Okay.
Real quick.
Okay.
Mid jungle 2v2, Optic game. I think it was like 15 minutes in, they missed first blood because fucking Ryu can't hit a Rise Q, so they put him on Malzahar the next game. Come on, man. That shit's hard to watch.
He missed a lot of skill shots. I won't defend 100 Thieves as much in game one because that was honestly more of just like Optic looking like they're running around with their heads cut off. And just a little side note for because Aframu's on our team now. CLG kind of looks the same way. They look like they were just kind of running around with their heads cut off for a while. Like they seem like they're a team without a shot caller. They're all good players, but I feel like they're lacking a voice that just tells them, all right, this is what we got to do and how to do it. And if you listen to Aframu, especially you guys on the analyst disc did that I'm helping bit where Aframu's doing that call on the Baron when Cho has to flash in, and he's just keeping everybody calm and cool, and he knows exactly when he's going to ult, and he's explaining that to them. I think that's the type of thing that some of the other teams are missing. Even kind of to a lesser extent TSM, because I feel like Bjerg is a decent shot caller, but sometimes if you listen to the mic checks and stuff, he's just talking about information that's not relevant to the game. And that's just something I've noticed.
Shotgun, we have to move on to the next caller, but really quickly, 100 Thieves or Echo Fox? Who's going to be stronger?
Oh, that's a tough one because I actually like Echo Fox quite a bit. I'm a big fan of all the players. I'm kind of one of the few actual Dardoch fans as well. So I'm gonna go 100 Thieves because they're my boys. But Echo Fox is a really strong team.
Yeah, because I feel like they occupy the same role right now, as both people are looking at them as some interesting stuff going on here. Maybe these guys are going to be good. I feel like Echo Fox has the edge right now. I don't know, Mark, what you think, but I'm interested to see how both of them do.
I think Echo Fox does as well.
I want to see Huni versus Someday, and that'll be the real deciding factor for me is just how that matchup specifically plays. And the whole team as a whole in general, but Huni versus Someday is a big part of how this works for me.
Shotgun, yep. I hope you resolve your lightning issues. Be careful out there, and
Thank you.
I hope to hear from you. Maybe we'll invite you on once they've won spring finals, and you can do another victory lap.
Sure. Make sure to clip this and post it all over the 100 Thieves Discord. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Secretly nade shot.
No downtime.
Menbung, how's it going? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going? I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Thank
Two
you.
from Houston
Yeah,
tonight.
2 from Houston. Thank you for
Are
being
you a Clutch fan? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm totally a Clutch fan, man.
Nice. Thank you for being a sub, by the way.
No
What
problem.
did you want to talk about?
I just want to tell every TSM fan and the fanboys who are like on the bandwagon just for them being like NA's, Yankees or whatever, to calm down. Like the fans, not the team. The team doesn't need to calm down. They're doing fine. Not necessarily in win losses, but it's
Yeah, they lost to Team Snickers, by the way.
And
so-
if you can get your mic a little closer too, you're a little quiet.
All right, yeah, I know I had some mic issues before.
No, this is good.
Sorry about that. All right, so I think everyone just needs to kind of calm down, and I hate the comparison between this and 2016. It's like, oh, well, they brought over another European support and blah, blah, blah. So obviously it's the exact same thing. No, it's not the exact same thing. I think it's more of finding synergy between, because everyone was hyping up TL this year, obviously for good reason, because people have synergy that's built in. But you have 3 different parts of the map that don't have innate synergy with each other. Like bot lane has their own synergy, the solo lanes have their synergy, and then Mike Young has to find a place to fit in there. And then the 2 jungle picks that he's had, I think Shyvana was picked 10 times across all major 5 regions and only won 9. Only won 1 and lost 9, across all 5 regions. And it just doesn't seem like they're cohesive enough, whether in draft and their prep yet. And I think that has a lot to do with just not everyone being on the same page. But I think I told my statement to Mark was that by week 4, so after week 4, I think TSM's going to have it figured out, because week 5 they play Clutch and then CLG, and I think they'll have it kind of on track, because they should have 2 wins, one being Optic this week and then one being GGS the week after that.
Yeah.
And you're saying if week 4 goes bad, that's when they're supposed to panic?
I think that's when the concern that we're seeing now is more legitimate, but I'm not going to be concerned, not because I trust Reggie and Reggie's a god or anything. I just think that the steps that they've taken over the off season are a whole lot better from when when this used to happen, when we had best of ones, and best of ones have never been friends for TSM, except for if you look at Katowice or whatever. But that having Song there, all the fanboys and fangirls love that Lust Boy's back, but TSN's macro play, I can't see him. So it's pretty tough right now to watch these games, but still see Bjerg playing really, really well, and then Hanser doing things like that first blood against TL. I saw it the whole way. I don't know how there wasn't a ping on the map. I watched it twice. There was no communication. Hanser does it late. And then the draft for the second game versus FlyQuest, I thought really wasn't well thought through. It wasn't a cohesive draft. So there are problems there, but for TSM fans to be shooting up, flares and everything and flaming Bjergsen or saying he's the problem, TSM and everything. So that's my big point, is that I don't think that anyone should be really worrying about TSM right now. If you want to have a time to worry, do after week 4.
Well, it sounds like you're suggesting the other teams should be worrying about TSM because they're going to come online in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, well, I totally think that. I think a lot's going to change too. Once this, I think the caller from Berkeley was talking about the meta right now. Yeah. Once that changes, I think whoever adapts to it first, and I believe in Song and people like Rapid Star, and also, the Clutch City staff, like Empire and all of them from Misfits. I talk about this with a lot of guys I have an amateur league that I'm a part of, find me off at LCS. It's a fraternity thing, but we talk about this a whole lot, and that the staff of TSM and stuff, we have a lot of trust in them as TSM fans, but we're not going to be so reactionary, because I think what we hear in a lot of TSM fans, that they're the loudest voice because there's so many of them, but what you'll hear from them is the loud minority, because at least I like to believe that the majority of TSM fans are rational, though the loud people would have you think otherwise.
Yeah. All right, so everybody needs to calm down. If you're worried about TSM, you shouldn't be worried about TSM. If you're not worried about them, you should be worried about them because they're coming for you. That's what it sounds like. You also, it sounds like you, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we need to get a couple more callers in, but it sounds like you think Clutch is going to come in soon.
I think Clutch has a really, really good like staff and base right there. I know Solo is kind of like everyone's meme in top lane, but like when he played against Lorlo in a matchup of GP versus Vladimir, when Vladimir should win that lane, Vladimir's really like strong right now, in my opinion too. But that he's gonna be able to get facilitated more, and I think people still underrate Hakuo and Apollo for whatever reason. And that once Febivin and Lyra have like better communication there, that kind of like what Mark and Jad have been talking about on the analyst desk, that they'll be probably a top 3 jungle mid duo.
When I think of premier North American AD carries, Apollo just jumps straight into my mind.
Oh, I don't think he's premier by any means. I'm not putting him up there, but
well, when you say underrate, like where would you put Apollo?
I'd probably put him top half. I mean, obviously, I think Clutch is going to make. I think not like as a fanboy, but because of like their jungle mid, and I think bot lane is a stable thing. I put him top 5, like top 5, top 6. He's going to make the playoffs. So I mean, if you want to go by that logic, well, they made playoffs, so he must be a top 5 or 6 AD carry. But I think he's top 6 for top 5. But I think most people underrate them when they're going against like some of these bigger names, like Altec and Adrian, and playing against Dignitas. And it's like I think they could go even or even win that lane. They won lanes against Double Lift and Bio last year that they shouldn't have won, and had like the best CSD at 10 last year.
Yeah, Kelby.
I would say
I just disagree.
I would disagree more with the top point. Like, it's great that Solo, won a tough matchup versus Lorlo, but then he got his counter pick into Huni's Gnar, a prominent top laner in the league, and got absolutely butt blasted.
Oh no, yeah, he will definitely struggle.
How's he gonna do against Someday?
Can we refrain from using that phrase on this show, Mark?
Butt blasted?
It's not helping us get. Why is the caller questioning that? All right.
Well, I'm questioning it too. Yeah. Why?
Let's move on.
It has absolutely no sexual connotation.
Oh my god. I think that Solo will definitely struggle against more aggressive top laners who will push him out of lane, for sure. But when it comes to like the way that what he needs to do for the team, that I think he'll just be fine. He just needs to be. I mean, people talk about like the year of the Lorlo. Like Solo kind of just needs to be like some stable, like piece of, I don't know, furniture upstairs.
Well, that's why I'm scared. That was his job. He picked Orin and Gnar. His job was to be a stable piece of furniture. He got destroyed.
Yeah, I look back at that first blood that he gave, and it's like he saw Zach on the ward, and then for some reason uses his W, which makes him unstoppable, which means he knows the gank's coming because he hasn't seen Zach leave. So it was just pretty bad, like intuition on his part, or just decision making, not even intuition. And it's like, well, what are you doing there? That's something I feel that the coaching staff can really help him on. I'm not saying they're going to make his mechanics better, but better overall like game knowledge of what to decide, and also him working with Lyra. I don't know, Mr. Players coach over here. So, yeah.
Menbong, thank you so much. I've never heard anybody say a player should be a stable piece of furniture, but now I have, and I want to thank you for that.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate it. It's a great show. Always support this, and yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's Thanks, cool man. To hear from another Houston guy for defending Clutch. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get. I can't even keep up with how quickly Mark's bringing me people. Rosantos has subbed. Soret resubbed for 5 months. Love the show, and let's talk about how Bjork AFK'd this past weekend. Star X Verse subbed. Slyant, who was on the show earlier, donated $4.20 and said, "I'm so sad that Casey accidentally took my Echo Fox topic." Yidna subbed, and Oju has resubbed for 2 months. We got nobody on the show yet. He's still getting it. I'm up at the Fenron Jenkins donation. Thank you for him. Mike Spam resub for 3 months. OPTSM fan donated $10 and said, "Hotline League is sponsored by." I'm not going to read the rest of this.
Why not? It's good.
Sponsored by Preparation H. For whenever your takes aren't taken seriously, your team sucks, and you feel butthurt, try Preparation H. Preparation is just not an actual sponsor and does not support any takes made by Travis Kappa. Rico Suave is returning to the show. A lot of repeat callers. I guess Mark has somebody's bribing Mark, I think is what I'm realizing.
Well, I don't know. Is Rico a sub?
No, Rico's recall was previously on the show.
No, I know what a recaller is. I was asking if he was a sub.
Rico is a sub.
Yeah, myself.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You told me to pull people from the sub chat.
Not exclusively. We appreciate everyone here. We just appreciate the subs a little more.
Travis,
Rico,
next week I'm hosting. You're doing this shit. You've been very critical of me this week.
Mark,
I think you're doing
you're doing a great job. Can we not argue?
I think you both do good jobs.
Can we not argue in front of the caller?
Oh, don't worry. Go ahead, continue. I'm enjoying this.
No, Rico, you deserve better. Where are you calling from?
Like I'm a recaller. I'm from New York City. I'm the Twitch chat's most hated CLG fanboy.
Oh nice. yes, I believe so. There's a lot of hated CLG fanboys in this Twitch chat. There's a guy from Washington D.C. I called one time that whenever Nick was on the show, he really went in. Sorry, what you called, was it last week or the week before?
That was the week before when you had Loco.
Yeah, and what was your take again? I'm trying to remember.
I was saying how COG is going to be number one.
Okay. And so you've returned now, unlike the 100 Thieves guy who returned to do a victory lap. I assume you've returned to apologize to Twitch chat for such a bold prediction.
You have denounced your CLG faith, right?
Of course not. I still think CLG is going to be number one. It's only week one.
Okay.
Just because they went 0-2 doesn't mean, oh my god, they're the bottom team now, like for the rest of the split.
Yeah. Well, Rico, is this what you wanted to call? Well, really quickly, Rico, is this what you wanted to talk about? I just want to make sure we're not derailing.
Yeah, I just want to talk about how I'm very upset how the game with C9 went, and honestly, I wasn't really highly upset the way they lost to 100 Thieves, but I'm just upset how they lost to 100 Thieves. But so I honestly think that the number one thing they have to work on is reignover. He did fantastic the first game. He was stealing jungle. He was putting a lot of pressure on top, which was expected because everybody thinks that Licorice is gonna get shitted on. And then for some odd reason during the mid game they just threw it all away. Like just upsetting to watch, especially on this one team fight where they're tower diving and Darshan decides to use Ornn's ulti, but misses it to return it back.
You mean talking about the headbutt into the wall in the mid lane?
Yeah.
That was cute.
That was just terrible. And then what happened, whatever, like literally in the middle of the game, reignover became reignover from TL and just started
game over.
Throwing game over. And then you could easily tell that what happened on the first day transited to the second day. Like, the way Someday just single-handedly just picked CLG apart. I just think what they got to do is sit down with reignover and try to make sure that, you get all these, like stop making risky moves. Like, you can tell that there were some plays that were done without, consulting, I guess, with the team, because I believe it was you, Travis, that mentioned that you interviewed some of the CLG players and they've expressed that, it's not just going to be, Biofrost or one person shot calling. It's going to be everybody that's going to put the input on things. I think they should stick to that so they can avoid, dumb stuff like, oh, I see, what's it, Sejuani there. Let me go after her, knowing that somebody is right there too.
Well, I think game one was interesting because Sven talked about how he made a mistake starting on his strong side and juggling to his weak side, so the Rengar invade was successful. And then once reignover took over that portion of the map, because GP is a weak laning champion, he just kept abusing Sven's topside jungle. And then what C9 did was they knew he was going to keep doing that, so they started doing brush camps in the top side to try and pick him off. And then one time they finally stopped him. They shoved him out of his top jungle. And they finally started getting red buffs again topside. Licorice lost his turret but stabilized, stayed down 20 CS, and that was where they were strong on the map. And it felt like they didn't know how to extend their lead once that one thing they were doing fell apart. So I don't know. I think that's the kind of bigger concern that people were talking about with CLG is like how do they play out more difficult situations now without Afro or whatever.
Kelby is the man who used to run CLG.
Yeah.
What was this weekend like for you watching? Because it does feel Twitch chat is calling this a CLG fans therapy session.
Yeah,
So
it's just venting.
Yeah. What? How did you feel, Kelby?
So like the weekend for CLG like started pretty good because the C9 game at the start was all right, and then like I felt like just as it went on, it just got worse and worse. And man, which game did Reignover play Rengar, or was
that was
it
the first one I was talking about? Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't watch a ton of Reignover on TL, but I just have like, man, I'm not a believer in this player right now. Like just watching him this weekend and then like hearing about how he was on TL. Like I know that Reignover used to be really, really good. I didn't watch League a ton then, but man, just watching I noticed one thing that he did in a team fight, and then I went back and I watched the VODs and I was just watching him, and like I just feel like this guy is like so often just like a zero impact team fight player. And like who he's laning was super sus to me. Especially like there were a couple times in lane, I was talking to Travis about this earlier, where like Jensen just made who he looked real bad. I was like, wow, this guy is like much better than you. I still believe that team has like too much talent on it, and also like Tony's really good coach, and like I don't know, for some reason the CLG sub has like a super bipolar relationship with Tony, but I think that like they're good enough. The other concern that I have though is like this team is like personality wise so beta. And I hate to use that term like that.
No, I think it's appropriate.
They're quiet and passive dudes. They're not.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, you have Stixay, who was microed by Afro, and then you have Bio, who learned everything that he knows from Peter, and you just throw them together, and then you have a new jungler, and you have I don't know how Huhi and Darshan are as far as like leading game efforts, but man, in my experience, shot calling by community with passive personalities, not good on stage. Really not good on stage.
I will say I know Darshan's very vocal, and from my understanding, who he is as well in terms of like what they want to do with the game. But I mean, you're still talking about potentially 3/5 of a reserved personality type.
Yeah, but I just CLG is the team right now where like I just don't have a super great feeling about them being a finals contender. I still think they'll finish well, but I just was like, it didn't look super great. And it's week 1.
Gerbil
and they played good opponents. They played good opponents too.
Yeah, they had a harder schedule than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Gerbil 2013 and Twitch chat brought this up, and it was actually something I had in my mind as I saw it pop up. He said to remember that, you know, the best years of Reignover's career have been with Huni at his side. And it's no surprise then that Huni and Reignover, in both my interviews with them, mentioned that they had originally looked to compete together. And so what'll be interesting to me is, and it's not that hard to imagine a world, like, I want to talk about this as we wrap up the show later on, but I think one common narrative is it feels like there's a lot of really good teams now. It's not that hard to imagine a world where CLG, I'm sorry to Rico who's on the call still, doesn't place top 5. And it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Also, a lot of people are concerned about Dardoch, and if Dardoch starts to become an issue at some point in time for Echo Fox, wouldn't it be interesting if a struggling CLG decides to trade Reignover to Echo Fox and then try to find some other jungler to bring in?
That's not going to happen.
Why?
What? Who are you getting a jungler? Why would you just give someone a good player if you think he's good? And if he's not good, why?
Because
he's
not working well on your team,
Yeah,
You
but
need
why
a
would Echo
different
Fox pay
jungler.
for him if like they're gonna bench Phoenix and take DeMonte? He's an import.
Oh yeah.
This would only work if Dardoch was being annoying, Phoenix wasn't good, and Reignover wasn't good on CLG, but looked good enough for Echo Fox to be interested, which is, to me, a pretty unlikely situation.
I forgot
Yeah, that
about,
was
I
a
forgot about
really
the impact.
stupid suggestion, Travis.
Rico Suave, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I am sorry that CLG's not doing well.
Well, I'm still looking for the second week because you still got second week. They got Clutch Gaming, which I think they might have a chance of winning.
They can
And then you have
they
Party
can beat
Guardians.
Clutch for sure, dude. Clutch is pretenders.
Yeah, so honestly, if they can
Kelby
get
just
some wins,
hates
maybe I'll
Apollo.
get the momentum.
Huh?
I said Kelby just hates Apollo.
I hate their social media. That's all.
Thank you, Rico.
Their social media game is so weak.
Can I just say two things? I just want to give a
Sure.
shout out to Gerbil for helping me out, and I love Warhammer as well. Just putting it out there. It's a freaking great game and addictive.
Yeah, there you go, dude.
Yeah. Thank you, Rico.
A man of taste.
Rico's your boy. He loves CLG.
Total War
Yeah.
Warhammer. He probably likes old chain smokers.
C
I don't
Doggy
have-
Dog has subbed. Hi, Mark.
I don't have a ton of more time, so
Oh, wait.
let's get through everybody.
When do you need to leave?
Like a little after 10.
Okay. Pandemonium 88 is on the show. Where are you calling from, Pandemonium?
Calling from Bristol, England.
Bristol,
Wow.
England. Okay. And are you in Tunnel?
No, is my voice still weird?
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe
You're clear. It's just a little echoey.
Yeah, well, a little, but yeah, yes. You're fine. What time is it there?
6 in the morning.
Oh wow. And why are you up so early?
I came back from a night out and was like, oh my god, I actually caught one of the streams.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Nice.
so hopefully it was a nice night out.
Going
We're-
hard on Monday night. Nice.
We're about
I
to
like
find out how hard of a night it was in just a moment as you bring up your question. But what do you want to talk about?
My topic is that I believe that TL have a limited area of growth internationally to represent NA, and that 100 Thieves, CLG, TSM all have a greater potential. And the idea is essentially that I don't think that the carry threats on TL are dominant enough internationally beyond Double Lift to potentially do something, whereas I feel like on the other teams they have individually stronger players. I think Jensen, Someday, and Hooney, so sorry I forgot to mention Echo Fox, all have a higher potential to impact internationally.
Wait, did you say TSM at the start too?
Yeah, I think that Bjergsen and Sven are a stronger carry threat than Pobelt and Double Lift.
Well, we didn't see that this weekend.
No, we didn't. But
He's saying that, like, you know, at the end of the season when everyone's hitting their peaks or whatever
Right.
and they're gelling,
Best
he's more
in the
confident
West.
Yeah.
in the best in the West bot lane, baby.
yeah, best in the West, best in the West. Coming from EU, I've got to hype them up.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. Mark, Kelby, you guys have a take on that?
For me, the sad part is, like, you might be right, but due to the meta worlds that happened, I don't feel confident in, like, making generalizations about the Immortals core. Because we've seen Impact hold up fine internationally. We know Double Lift is, like, prone to making mistakes, but, like, it's not like he always gets completely shit on or whatever. And then Pobelter also doesn't get beat up too bad. But then we went into Ole, who was, like, this god playmaker on Immortals and, like, hard carrying that team with Smithy with early playmaking. And then they get, like, Ardent meta. And it's, like, the worst thing you could ever hope for as, like, a team that relies on Ole. It's just, like, neutered him, basically. And if you're not in a passive support meta, maybe, like, you know, your carry threat isn't always just who can win team fights late game. You can have, like, more aggressive early playmaking teams, and Immortals kind of still tried to play that style, but the meta just, like, wasn't good for it. So I have a little bit of, like, you could be right, but I wouldn't bet on it right now.
I also just feel like at Worlds, like the stars of your team are not what the differentiating factor is for Worlds performance. Everybody that's at Worlds is a team of really good players, and I don't feel like individual performances from your stars are what separate the top teams apart at Worlds. Like, especially if you look at like Misfits this year and how well they did. It's like understanding of the meta and also just getting over the mental hurdle that NA teams have of, you know, like playing their game and playing aggressively. And nobody's going to be Korean teams, so it doesn't matter. But Chinese teams have been trying this for forever, where you import literally the best mechanical and like, you know, superstar players from Korea to China, and those players get to Worlds, and it doesn't matter. I just can't think of a precedent in the past where like I see a Western team that has success because like they had these players that were ahead of the game or better than the other competition internationally, except for maybe you could make that argument with season 2 CLG EU and Froggen, because Froggen just like shit on everybody in that timeline.
I would say there's like times where great players are the reason. Like the reason SKT made it so far was like Faker hard carried some games, but like,
but that is, you're literally talking about Faker.
Right. I'm agreeing. Like it's usually not like Uzi season 4.
Yeah. Uzi,
Yeah, but like other than those, generally speaking, it's about like the other.
Does NA have an Uzi or a Faker? Like we just saw Huni, as great as he is in North America, we think potentially the most impactful player in North America at Worlds did not look anything like that. NA sucks. It's a popularity region. That's okay. We've got the best content. You know what I mean? Like,
well, Kelby got muted. I don't know what. It's strange how that happened. Just kidding. Tee. Pandemonium, do you have?
I thought I actually got muted, so I just stopped talking.
No, I did mute you. But Pandemonium, Pandemonium, do you have? We don't talk. We don't take that kind of language here. Pandemonium. So, would you have any retorts or any thoughts on any of the stuff that these guys just said?
Not really. I guess I agree actually with what Kelby was saying, that when it comes to Worlds and the example of Misfits, a lot of the teamwork is more important than the individual. But I do also feel like there is a big enough skill gap between the best Asian teams and the best Western teams that it is a concern that certain teams like Liquid don't have a high enough, and I know I'm not allowed to say it, but ceiling.
Right.
Yeah.
So
sure. I'm more concerned personally not about your high points, but where your low points are. And I think that across the board, TL and TSM in particular are probably the most consistent in regards to like average player skill and not having any outliers on the bottom part. Whereas with C9 potentially and Echo Fox and 100 Thieves, that could exist.
Yeah.
Where like you get exposed at a certain position where other teams are just really strong across the board, and because you're not up to that level in one particular area, that part of your game falls away.
Pandemonium, thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish we could talk longer, but Mark apparently has a date, so good talking to you.
No worries. Thank you.
He's got a 10 o'clock appointment on a Monday. It could be anything, Travis.
People, not even that, just like Twitch chat saying the same thing. It's like, you guys need to realize like my face when I'm not smiling looks like I'm bored or gonna kill somebody. So like I was listening to Kelby because he was making good points, and that's just how my face looks.
I'm just kidding,
when I'm
Mark.
listening.
You've been doing a good job tonight. We've just been beating up on you. I'm sorry.
You can get off my balls, all right?
I'm sorry. Sorry. Can we get the next caller though? Because you're taking a long fucking time to pull somebody. Okay.
There you go. All right, happy.
Yeah. Tic Tac. Where are you calling from?
Paddywhack.
Hey man, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, another
Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Tonight.
So
Bill
are
fan?
are you a Clutch fan?
No, I'm not. I'm actually a CLG fan.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Man of good taste.
We've got a couple of those tonight. What do you want to talk about?
I actually want to call because I think it'd be best for the development of the league if CLG and TSM kind of sucked this year.
You mean in regards to like growing fan or like encouraging people to have fan interest in other teams? Or
I mean, I think parity, not only in performance but in like fan base size, is probably the best thing for the league. These new teams spent, what was it, like $10 million to get into the league,
yeah.
and so if TSM and CLG, went 0-18, I feel like a lot of their fans would kind of flee, and
Yeah, I agree.
And 100 Thieves, Optic, even TL, who they went through it a few years ago, where all their fans left. They'd have a chance to kind of grow their own organization, bring more people into LCS, and it would just make a healthier LCS.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you: is that aside from better results, these new teams having better results than some of the old guard, do you think that there's anything else that this is such a leading question. Is there anything else that needs to go with it in order for them to maintain that? Because what if like you have a good split or you have two good splits, let's say, and the old teams don't do as well, but then like, you can never guarantee results year over year unless you're TSM, it seems.
No, and I agree with you, but if you just look at, my background's traditional sports. I mean, if you look at a team who, you're kind of born into their fan base, and you fall in love with some of their players, maybe their coach, some of their stories, their ownership. Even if they do have a few bad splits or bad seasons, you kind of follow them through it. And so TSM, CLG, they've had the opportunity for the last 6 years to gather these fan bases, and I think like an organization like Nate Shot's 100 Thieves, I think they should get the same opportunity to gather these fans. And so if TSM and Cloud9 and CLG are just running the table every split, I don't think they'd have the same shot. So go ahead, Mark.
I think Kelby's point a little bit is that like at that if TSM doing bad and these other teams doing well, and that's why they join and they get invested in the team, like you're not really in some ways fixing the problem. Like yes, those like fan bases will swell and then some people will stick with them, but you're kind of just having a completely fair weather fan base, I guess. Maybe Kelby, that's where you were going with it. Where like the only reason they're now a fan of 100 Thieves is not anything other than to do with the fact that they're winning. And you're in the same situation basically you were before, where now no one's watching TSM versus like, God forbid CLG and TSM become the two bottom dwellers of the league for a year. If that match is still only getting 100K on Twitch, that's not good. If people are just watching through fair weatherness, and it's like, oh yeah, the new rivalry is 100T versus TL,
I think so. I disagree. I actually agree with the caller more and disagree with Kelby and Mark here. I think, and I'm going to base this sort of off of what I've seen with my work, which is it is frustrating for me when I see really great personalities on bottom tier teams that people don't pay attention to, and it is exciting for me when I see those teams do well and people actually start to pay attention. So I'll interview a player for a year or more, and I'm like, this guy gives great interviews and is like someone who deserves a lot of fans just based off of his personality, but nobody will even check that. It won't hit the front page of Reddit. Nobody will care because the player's not winning. But what happens that's really cool is when players start winning, then people start looking at their interviews, and you start to get a lot more recognition for these other personalities. And I don't think that it comes at the cost of it's not like they're like, I was a TSM fan and now I'm a Optic fan because they're winning and I like Acadian. I think you just end up getting a lot more attention across all of the games, which I think is pretty good at, and I think that's fine.
I agree to an extent, but like for 100 Thieves, like, do you not know anyone on that team right now? Like as a general fan of League, like they have literally the most experienced roster, I believe, in terms of games played.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves is just one example, right? Like I think,
sure,
like
MTL is like once
like
again,
nobody knows Deathly.
Veterans.
If Golden Guardians did well and Deathly is, got a great personality or something, that'd be kind of nice.
Does he have a great personality, Travis?
I don't know. He's not been winning. I don't pay attention.
Of the top teams, of the top teams who like actually have a chance to do well this split, like who do we not like somewhat know? I mean, like people probably don't know Solo that well. People who don't follow Europe might not know Forbidden. the new Forbidden, especially after like they might have learned about Fnatic Forbidden. I've heard he's a very different person now. Like
Dardoch.
Like have you not heard of Dardoch or Altec or Adrian before?
I mean, all people have heard of Altec and Adrian, but I don't think people have ever cared about Altec and Adrian.
But I agree with the fan. Like, it's nice. It would be cool if there was an opportunity.
Sure,
But I'm just saying that
his name is
when
Tic Tac.
they do,
Thank you very much.
Tic Tac Paddywhack. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. But I'm just saying that when they do get this attention, you can't just let it sit on your laurels and be like, we're winning. You need to capitalize on that so that you can still and retain that fan base through the leading part was like, I wanted to see these guys do content creation, which 100 Thieves is doing a great job with. But like, a part of the reason why TSM has so many fans is because they stream and they do Legends, and Legends is dope. Max, you're killing it. Keep it up.
Well, and I just want to talk on Travis's point. Thank you for agreeing with me. You're a genius. Your show should be sponsored.
Thank you. Man. Do you want to come on next week?
Yeah, I will. People watch for two reasons. They watch it because they love their team, and then sometimes they hate the other team. I mean, in football, that's why people watch the Cowboys. They either love them or they hate them. And so if you feel like you've been betrayed by CLG or TSM because they just kind of made these roster moves you disagree with, and then they shit the bed for a split, like you may feel betrayed by them. You may grow to hate them, and then you may grow a new love for, God forbid, Optic Gaming.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kelby's point is very important, where it's like a lot of these guys, it's about growing their personal brands through the content, through streaming, and this kind of stuff. Like, I don't think winning is the solution, because you're going to run into the same problem where, like, a lot of players who used to be on TSM right now.
It's both.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
Clutch could be making the best content ever, but if they're ranked 9th, people aren't going to be watching it. You got to do both. Thank you, Tic Tac, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for the nice words. Jadek is next. If you want to go grab him, Mark.
Yep.
Jadek, where are you calling from? I know you weren't expecting
I'm calling
this.
from Arkansas.
Mark didn't prep you, so I apologize. You just suddenly heard my voice.
I talked to him a couple times already. I know he's good.
Calling from Arkansas. Who's your favorite team?
TSM, man.
Okay,
I wanted to call and talk about a little bit of TSM hype. I'm not worried at all. We got a slow start, and what else is more TSM than a slow start? We got Sven and Mithy, who are the most proven slow starters of any bot lane that's in the Western. That's big and important. The bandwagon fans, they're here and they're jumping, which is fine. We're weeding out the weak. We're only going to make our fan base stronger and better.
Hodl. What is that? How do you say that in the
Hodl, the crypto thing?
Yeah.
They don't have crypto in Arkansas. Jadek, continue your thought.
Weeding out the weak, all those stupid fans get out of the bandwagon. We're fine. We still got the best player in the West, Bjerg. I mean, who are you going to tell me is better? The bot lane's still going to pop off. Mike Young, still a talent. I expect Song to rein that majestic beast in and really tame him and get him going. Haunter is still one of the best top laners out there. Come at me.
I don't know how much we have to say to that, because I mean, I feel like we heard that a little bit, and it's kind of a good way to end the caller thing. But Kelby, what were you gonna go with?
I was gonna say, what do you think are the odds that Reggie has made his first truly bad roster decision in replacing Peter and Bio for Sven and Mithy?
You say truly bad. I mean, was Yellow not bad?
I mean, people forget he had Glebe Glarbu on his team at one point in time.
That is true, too. I mean, both of those, big time.
Yeah, but both times they made the playoffs and they made the finals.
Yeah,
right.
I would say the Glebe one, we didn't see the experiment through because they replaced him midway through with Lustboy.
Right, and also, like, the players that they're replacing are not exactly what Bio and Double were to TSM in regards to brand value, probably.
And that is fair, but also Sven and Mithy are probably the biggest bottom lane in the West, arguably. And one of the biggest
What do you mean the biggest?
One of the most popular and revered. And
popular?
Also, yeah. All
right, let me just hear one sec, real quick. I'm going to do
Twitter too.
Yeah, we're gonna pull up Sven and Mithy's Twitter accounts and see how their popularity is in contrast. So Sven has
109.
109. And what does Peter Pang have? His counterpart at Team Liquid, who TSM released 790,000. So if you took Sven and you multiplied his Twitter following by 6, it wouldn't be what Doublelift has. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll just
Double has the big mouth, and that explains why his Twitter following is so big. But Sven has.
But you're talking about popularity.
Yeah. All right. To be fair to Sven, that dude's fucking hilarious, and TSM's a giant fan base. All their numbers go way up. Doublelift is like this grandpa of NALCS who's been here forever. I expect Sven to like hit 200, 300K, assuming he stays on TSM the whole time. Maybe 400K by the time the year's out, as long as Legends continues and they're winning and he's funny. I would say I could see him growing a fair amount, but the point that Kelby's making still stands.
Yeah.
That is fair. I will not argue with that. Double, his mouth is it makes him famous, and it's tough to replicate that in any other player to be that personable and then to be that big of a deal.
Right. Yeah. No. So. But anyways, what do you think what's the...
I'm not worried at all because it's week 1, man.
So you think it's 0%, 5%, 10%?
In what sense?
In regards to Reggie having made a mistake with this roster change.
Oh, 0%. Absolutely.
0%.
For
okay,
sure.
Gotcha.
It's 0%. They're going to be in the finals no matter what. I'm not going to say that they're going to win it because I'm excited for the competition.
They've never missed the finals.
That's coming this season. But come summer... Worlds, I mean, we're talking this is the run.
So you think they're going to do well at Worlds?
No Mike Young concerns?
Already.
What do you think?
At all. That's a whole year to develop Mike Young with Song over him.
What does well at Worlds mean?
I mean,
They'll
at
make
least
it to groups.
quarterfinals. At least quarterfinals.
Okay. So they make it out of groups.
Yeah, they make it out of groups.
Well, we can have this. I wanted to wrap up the show with this conversation. We can have it while Jadek is here. I think it's fair if he wants to chime in. But nobody brought this up. But one thing we've been talking about a lot tonight are strong teams. In the past, we've had 3 or 4. I feel like there's a chance, I know it's just the first weekend, that this is the strongest NALCS has ever been. And hopefully it is because we spent a shit ton of money this offseason to get here. But I'm curious about Mark and Kelby's take on this. Is this the strongest NALCS has ever been? And if that's the case, should the established teams like the TSMs and even Cloud9, who had a great weekend, be concerned because their path will arguably be more difficult than usual?
Are we saying compared to
like
the rest of the world since LCS has started?
Total, like highest level of competition we've ever seen between all 10 teams, all the players within the league. The hardest to get to the finals, the hardest time you're going to have playoffs. A couple of players, I don't know if I've released the interviews yet because I forget who said it, but a couple of players said that it feels like every year it gets harder in NALCS to compete because the teams get better. So curious if you guys think this is the best NALCS has ever been and if it'll be, the hardest battle all the teams have had to make it to the finals and win.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I would say spring last year, we haven't seen much of this spring, but spring last year was probably harder. And it's definitely leveled up a ton since like season 6 and season 5. It's like, there's no more team 8s in the league, there's no more like, we're all pretty much NA team full of like players who these days would be challenger. So I think it's gotten a lot harder, but spring last year, if you remember, Envy was the 10th place team. And they actually had like a 30-something% win rate because it was best of 3s. And they were like a 30-something% win rate in terms of games. So they actually won as a 10th place team a lot compared to like previously 10th place teams were like 1-17, like 2-10, like whatever it was. So I think it's been trending and like as getting harder for a while now, and this one might be harder, but the spring split last year was really difficult.
All right, Kelby.
Mark gave a good answer, and I was going to.
Yeah, I know. It feels like the answer should be yes. I feel like the answer should be yes.
I was going to say yes because we've done what America does best. We've used our power and influence to go out and bring out all the good talent into this region to help make us look better.
And then we corrupt them.
Yeah. They'll be shit players by the time they're done with us compared to, like how they were previously in their other regions, but they'll be way more popular. They'll have way more money and they'll be happier. So what do you care?
I think perception is big on this one because it's back to best of ones of where you don't have teams that are standing out as much as they typically would. So it's going to look a whole lot more competitive just because a one-off is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Best of one is exciting for broadcast though.
Oh, it is. It's awesome.
I'm a fan of the best of one change.
TSM
actually.
lost to FlyQuest.
Team Snickers?
Hashtag Snickers.
We don't talk about that one.
Hashtag
No, we do talk about that one because it's the only thing they talk about on their social media account. Actually, my dream scenario for NALCS is if the guy who runs the Clutch Gaming Twitter account could have the Snickers relationship. That would just be amazing. I would love to follow that Twitter account.
I think he was saying we don't talk about the loss of the game, not the Snickers.
Snickers works. I mean, if you're gonna do Snickers right in this realm, is you have Wild Turtle with a sad face, and then he eats a Snickers, and then he gets a smile back. It sells itself.
Thank you so much for coming on, Judik. Good talking.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
I appreciate your TSM pep talk for the people that had to are concerned. Let's Mark, I know you got to go. You want to say we'll go rapid fire.
That's about
if
all I
anyone is watching and you want to sub or donate or hit up this show will not be sponsored. Mark is doing everything he can to make sure that that's happening. We need community support because no brand will want to be associated with this.
Burps, MLK Day.
The common man, all right?
Yeah.
He gets it a lot here because Riot has begged him not to lose them State Farm. So it's just take all that and put it on that show. Yeah, Mark, anything you want to shout out?
Just you can expect the Blame game to be coming out later this week. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when, but there's that. Tune into Academy on Fridays if you want to get a hot look at who's going to be taking over your favorite players' positions in the coming weeks when they start losing. That's about it.
Kelby?
I would just like to give a shout out to everything that the Chainsmokers did from 2014 to 2016.
Goddamn, dude.
Like, it was so good, and I understand that, they want to make different music. They're progressing as artists in the way that they see is good for them, and they just want to make pop music, and that's totally fine. If you ever want to return to making EDM, we would love to have you back. That's all. Alex and Drew, we miss you.
I have to really quickly and want to. We had a whole huge backlog because Mark was giving me people so quickly. So thank you to C Doggy Dog for the sub, Sable Flag, Rye90, Bold Fontex, Boba Cola, who's been a big supporter of all my stuff going back for a couple years now. Drink Bleach, thank you. Very inappropriate. Starlust, Leoto99, Ichiryu has resubbed for 5 months. Former TSM fan donated $3, gave a really long question. I'm sorry we don't have time for it. Go Clutch Gaming donated $5 and said, Kelby, why do you think we are pretenders? Do you not like the players, staff, anything besides social media? By the way, we have the best new team jerseys. So thank you for everyone. I'll stick around for a couple of minutes after the show.
They're not bad.
And thanks to Mark and Kelby, of course, for doing the show. This has been Hotline League.